What's happening, everyone? Carmine Dinisco here on the launch pad. We've been talking with you for over 8 seasons, going on our ninth season, and gone through a lot together, even a pandemic. We brought some great guests on the show, introduced a lot of cool products, introduced businesses, so much stuff over these last several years. And our next guest is nothing to shake a stick at. She is awesome, not only an entrepreneur, an inventor, a business coach, somebody that helps people all the time. Sandy Bastien was going to be on with us. She's got a lot of cool stuff going. We talk a little bit about her product, her journey, what she's got happening now and in the future. Let's bring her on. Sandy, what's happening?
What's happening, Carmine? Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, so cool. We were talking the other day and I was like, I miss talking to Sandy. Let's go and do a podcast, and you might, the things we talked about, I think are beneficial for a lot of people, right? I mean, we were just kind of talking and I was like, wow, this is a lot of good information.
Yeah, it's been a lot of stuff happening on this journey.
Yeah, we can go back a little bit and you're right. A lot of inventors, uh, product developers, innovators, they feel, and I kind of am still the same way, they feel if I just have a good idea, that's all I have to do, right? And just make a product and everything else will kind of happen the way it's supposed to. Um, let's talk a little bit about your journey with your idea. Now, I let people know Bobolid, this is such a cool product. You can even talk a little bit about it as you say, but let's talk a little bit about your journey of getting just to the product.
Yeah. Whew, Carmine, this
Where do we
journey.
start?
Where do we start? Um, so you said earlier about inventors, innovators, and I think that most people that I have been in contact with on this journey didn't start out with, I want to be an inventor. It wasn't like, okay, I'm waking up and I'm going to be an inventor today. It was, there is a problem that the market has not solved, and I see a solution that would benefit a lot of people, and I want to solve this problem. And so that's where it started with me. I had no desire to hold the title of an inventor at all. um, but here I am, the inventor of the Babalid baby bottle, which is a bottle that helps parents secure the lids. So, as a mom of five, I always tell people I bottle fed all my children. And one of the main problems I had with bottles is that the lid would go missing. And when the lid goes missing, the only solution is to buy a whole new bottle just to replace the lid. And so you could imagine me having to buy new bottles just to replace the lid. My kitchen was counter was full of bottles without lids or with lids without bottles. So I didn't like the idea of having so much bottles without lids or even going out without the bottle. And I remember at times when I didn't have the lid and I wanted to make sure that I was putting a clean nipple inside of my baby's mouth, I would have to use my mouth to clean it off.
Sure.
So Baba Lid came about because I needed a solution that gave me the confidence when I'm out and about with my baby, feeding my baby, that I'm not putting germs into my baby's mouth. So, as I said to you, it wasn't something that I wanted to be an inventor or going to manufacturing and patents and all the other stuff that I had to go through. It was about solving a problem. And, but here I am. I started this journey. The idea came to me about 12 years ago, and I started the manufacturing part of it in 2020.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
2020. I mean, it seems like just like you said, like yesterday we started working on this product.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
does feel like yesterday. I remember those conversations I was having with you on the phone and how you had to encourage me so many times to take the next step because I couldn't believe that I was actually doing it. Because I don't know if I mentioned to you, when I first started this journey, it was about finding someone to do it for me. It was like, is there anybody on the, in the space of baby feeding that can actually take this idea and just add it to an existing company? I had no intentions of building a brand out of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And not a lot has changed even since then. It is tough to find people, to believe in our ideas and take that step either with
Yeah.
us on their own, and you might and not in a bad way. And you might have run into this, Sandy, like a lot of people that are out there that we're talking to, they don't have an imagination. And I don't mean in a bad way, the same as we do. So we're looking at, say, your product, and we're like, but look at this. And they're just going, so, and you're
Mhm.
going, no, but look at this product.
Yeah, it takes a lot of convincing and like, yeah, this is great. And it's also if you're not in need of a product like that, like if you don't use bottles, I run into a lot of parents that don't use bottles, that they don't have a need for a lid to be secured. They don't, so it's also trying to find the people in the market space that can understand and appreciate what you've built.
Yeah, it really is. The inventor industry is so large, so humongous, the industry. But it seems like when we're inventors, we're kind of working on our own, or in a closet, or you know, uh, just in this little space. And you might get a couple people to give ideas, but if the whole industry and all the people would just talk and get together, and it would be so much. I don't want to say it's fun, but wouldn't be this industry of working in solidarity.
Yeah, well, I think that, there's a lot of fear around inventing too.
That's true.
Um, a lot of people are concerned about people taking their ideas or, people put so much resource, financially. I mean, like I can speak for myself. Like I cash out everything. My husband and I, all of us is in here, right? All of
Yeah.
anything we had, we put it into this company.
Yeah.
And so when you think about the risk of someone coming along and saying and taking it as their own, we
Yeah.
hear those words all the time. So while that you can come together with people and collaborate and do all those different things, that fear, you have to overcome it on your own.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
is true.
no one can help you do that.
Yeah, because it is, and even when clients are talking to me about that, I can give from my experience, but it's still a fear even for me to give that experience, because what if, it doesn't happen that often that an idea gets taken or stolen, or even if somebody does take an idea, they usually don't have the passion, the drive to do it better. But it's still that, oh my God, that punch in the gut of somebody's taking my idea. And it does freeze us there in the fear mode.
It definitely does. But you have to get to a point, like if you're all in, like I've seen inventors put all of themselves into it and just give up and go back to what they were doing before. And like, what, this isn't for me.
Wow.
But you said earlier about passion, and I think about purpose too. Like getting
True.
clear on why did you even take the risk? Like it has to be more than just a product. At some point, in order to sustain this growth, it has to be more than just a product.
Mm.
Because if you think about it, there might be someone who comes along and say, "Oh, I can do a little bit different," and then here they solve the problem that you thought you were solving, and they did it better. And so what now? So now all the money and time and energy you spent is like you're done with it.
Mm.
I see a lot of that happening, and I said, I I I, I couldn't afford to do that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had too many. I had put too much, and I had too many people inspired by the journey that was allowed to say, oh, maybe I can do this too. Because remember, I started this journey as I always had a business, but my main role is a mother. As a mother of five, I gave up my career to be more present with my family. And I see a lot of other mothers saying, oh, what, maybe I can do something too while I'm, still present with my family. Maybe I can, my story has inspired them. And so for me to not find something more than just a product to keep moving forward, how many other people are going to say, maybe it doesn't work?
Mm. Yeah. That's one thing that I noticed while we were working together in your product.
Mhm.
one, me as a product developer and wanting to get your like I'm fast to market. I want to get products out there, get them selling so the inventor can make money. But what I loved about you is you were like, it's not ready yet. No, it's, and I was driving you a little bit crazy, and it's normal, because I think we even talked about that. You were like, this product has to be, I don't want to say the word perfect. It has to be value. It has to show people when people use it. I want them to go, wow. It's not only the invention, but the bottle, the nipple, how it worked. You were right. And again, I'm always the person that says, hey, we'll fix that on the next version. Let's just get it out there and sell it. But you were like, no, this product has to be for this type. And I am so glad that you didn't settle, because sometimes I want you to be making money. I want you to be selling, because the product, the passion, the purpose, it all came out when the product was done.
Definitely. And I didn't realize they gave you a hard time.
No, and no. But I'm glad. No, I didn't mean it in a bad way. You knew what you wanted, and that was what's great about it. And I don't mean in a bad way, hard time. You said no, Carmen. This isn't ready yet, and I'm glad you did that, because my job is to get your product out there, get it selling as quickly as possible. But you were like, it's got to be right, and I'm glad you did that.
And I think maybe I'll add to this too. As a mom, I've used so many
Yes.
products before, so I kind of know what's there. And I wanted something that represents what I'm trying to do. Yes, I understand. At the end of the day, yes, I do want to make money. I want to make a whole lot of money, but I also want to be relevant many years later. And
Yes.
so what does that look like? It's making sure that you create a product that people can keep talking about. This was my hero product. It was like, okay, wow, this is an amazing product. So now, because I've done that so well, the next product that comes, people are paying attention because they know what they got.
True. Very true. Yeah, the product is great to process. No, it's just awesome. And again, every product that comes into our office is different.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that the baby industry on its own is so vast, it's so large, and it's a constant, right? I mean, your kids get older, but another mom has kids. It's never ending, and your product will live on, just like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and then, getting into that, and that's where your passion and your drive and your purpose came in, because even after you were done with the product, you said, I'm not done. How can I add value? And moving into what you're doing now, if we want to talk a little about it, I was just in awe that, you took what you had in a product and you're just expanding on it now.
Yeah. When you talk to people about anything that you're doing as an entrepreneur, the question comes up, what's next? Right. And a lot of times you're forced to kind of think, oh, well, I got this another great invention idea. And I'm like, I don't have another invention or idea. And even if I did, I don't have the resources like I had before for the first product to make it happen. I need to focus on where I am right now and what is it that's going to differentiate me from the other companies or bottle companies that are selling in the market space. And so when I thought about Baba Lid, yeah, it's a great product. It does something different. But the reality is that there are companies that are more established than I am, have way more resources, manpower than I do. And I had to recognize and accept that as a reality. And so when people say, well, who are your competitors? And I try to think about all the different companies that already exist. Okay, it's Dr. Brown and it's Avent and it's all these different companies. But when I think about it, no, they are not my competitors because I don't have the resources to compete with them.
True.
So that's the first thing. I think a lot of inventors, product developers, you're competing with companies you shouldn't be competing with.
Yes. Oh my God. You're exactly right. It's not even on the same plane.
At all. And no one's going to tell you this, Carmine. No one's going to, if you have a coach who's honest may tell you, well, maybe we shouldn't be competing with these people. But part of the journey is learning. Like you are learning this as you're going through it, right? And so when I thought about how do I differentiate myself from these big companies, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, what are you going to do now, Sandy? What is it that you're going to do to make your product different? And as a writer, I thought about, well, how do I bring my writing skills into this space?
Yeah.
And I'm very involved in literacy in my community. I write children books, I teach literacy, I do literacy workshops. And I said to myself, well, you know what? I look at kids and I see how they hold their bottles. And I'm like, well, if a child can hold a bottle, they can hold a book. Like we can get them to hold books, right? So how do I use the skills that I have to the product to make it stand out from everything else that's in the market space? And that's when the idea of writing a children's book about the invention process came to mind.
It's amazing because you had so much knowledge from the adventure process, not only that it was tough, but so much that you learned during that process. And then to build upon not only the product, but add that the book and things on that is it's just amazing to go the way. Because I agree with you. Books are so important. And I think people are starting to get away from that and bringing
Mhm.
children in to have a book right from the early childhood. Such a great idea.
So and important. With and let me tell you that this book has helped me sell more bottles. It has helped me, speak to people and moms and parents about my journey. And with that, they're like, yeah, I want to check out this bottle. Then they'll go on and they'll buy the bottle. Um, when it comes to this whole literacy thing for me, I had this concept called reading is eating. And it came about because of the bottle. So I'm like, if you're using the bottle to feed your body, then the book will feed your mind, right? So when your child is holding a bottle, you can pick up a book and read to them. So it's kind of like encouraging parents and giving them the tools so they can start their child's literacy journey as soon as they're able to hold that bottle.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's amazing. It
Yeah.
really is. And being able to create the book, you get to create it in that image or what you want that learning and development to be, which is super important that you can lead them down the right path with the book.
Yeah. So what's great about the book is that it's relatable. I have it here. It's a picture of a baby and a mom with the bottle. So it's definitely something that babies relate to. It's part of their world, their bottle, right? And their mom, hugging and kissing them. And so I talk about the journey a little bit, not as sophisticated as it happens, but enough for a child to understand that ideas come from us, right? Ideas come from human beings. And that's something that I didn't understand until I was an adult. Like you see things all over the place, but you never thought about that was an idea. Everything we use started out with an idea.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yes.
I understood that principle when I got older.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that, like you said, when we're kids, we have so many ideas, constant. We're bombarded with our brains making ideas to go out and do something, and what you're going to do today. But as we get older, we're so like I don't know, robotic about what we're doing that
Mhm.
when we come up with something different, then we notice, oh, we have a different idea, or we're doing
Mhm.
something different.
Yeah. So yeah, so just imagine when you start to nurture children in that way, where you're like, listen, you have an idea too. You have ideas too. What will we do with it? So when I go to the schools
Yeah.
and I do this whole presentation called "Out of Your Head into Your Hand," right? And so we talk about the whole journey of inventing. That ideas are in our heads, and what is the process of getting it to our hand and getting it into the world.
Yeah. How do the kids that when you're talking about inventions and doing things, how do they take it? Are they excited? Do they say, I have ideas? How do I? 'Cause I love working with kids with ideas. I think it's the coolest and most fun thing.
I learned so much from them. It's so, you know what it is? It's like not many kids are fortunate enough to see somebody that created a product.
Yes.
So when I go to the schools, like I've had parents call me, my son, my daughter saw your presentation, they loved it. And we don't get that. I never got that. I never got that experience to say that I know someone who did something and I got to talk to them and speak, and see them, their real, their story. Um, so with that, it's like the kid gets to say, maybe I can do something. You do something in their mind. There's something that's happening in their minds. There's definitely a seed that's planted.
Yeah.
But the next time something great happens, a great idea comes into their mind, they're not going to dismiss it as, oh, that someone else can do that. They actually can say, wait a minute, maybe I can do something with this.
Wow.
Even if it's drawing it, even if it's articulating how it's functional, whatever it is, it gives them the opportunity to think through the process.
Yes. Yes. One kid, and you're helping a lot more. But if you can help one kid each time you do that, it's amazing. And, for them to be, they are interested when you have gone through the process. You're saying, I'm not just talking about this, I've done it.
Yeah, they are interested. And like I said, when I always say people, they'll ask, what's the result? I said, everything I do, the children will go home to brag to their parents about it. That's what happens. They're
Yeah.
going home and they're bragging. And I got to hear it. I got to hear my daughter, my son said you went to the school. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, that is true. It's funny that you're utilizing that for them to help them really take that in and learn and realize they can have ideas that can change the world. They can have ideas that can make things easier for their family, for their kids, for their student, for their friends. So it's amazing that you're getting through to them at such a younger age.
And I love that they're so interested in what's happening, they can go home and explain it to their
Yeah.
parents. And I'm like, wow, this is good.
So it is. It's so great. Tell me a little bit about now. I wrote a book. I think I told you about that. Yeah, I wrote a book kind of really to help clients understand what my process is. But I wrote it and I had to publish it, but I didn't sell it. I mean, no one bought it. But I think my grandmother bought one. I think I mentioned. But it's very tough to write a book. And I don't know if you're hard on yourself when you're doing your book. I mean, you designed it. I know you did a lot. But when you say this is ready to print, it's a scary moment, right?
It is. Yeah, because it's like you're putting yourself on display,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
It's yourself on display.
Exactly. And I know that you wrote it, you drew it. And by the way, the book looks so cool. I mean, I love the
Thank you.
colors. I love the story you're telling just with the cover.
Mhm.
It gives such a great like awe, like wow, this book's full of love, like right, it's just the cover shows
Mm,
such great story.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, you know what I think also as when you write a book, I don't think many people realize that a book is also a product.
Oh, true, that's true.
Right? It is a product. It's a product, but people think of it, oh, it's a book. So they're thinking, okay, if I put it on the bookshelf or put it in a store, they're going to come by. It's the same process that you got to market. You have to find a way to market your book as you market a product because it is a product.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that, but you're right. It deserves and needs the same as any product.
It definitely does. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges for a lot of authors. They just call themselves authors and not entrepreneurs.
uh,
You are an entrepreneur. You got to get it. You have to get the message across for the market to say, oh, yeah, we need that. It's not just you write a book and you put it on the shelf and they're just going to buy it. It's the same thing with a product. They don't know it exists. They're not buying it.
They don't know the value of why they should own that. True.
Right.
You're right.
That part
Wow.
too.
Huh. Now you have multiple books that you've done.
Yeah, I wrote so I have the board book, which is the one I showed you, and then I have two other books, and I'm also working on a fourth children's book. Yeah.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Now, are the stories or how the book is run? Are they kind of the same? Do they? Not, I don't want to say push. Do they give information to drive the children to do something or learn something, or is it just like you're giving them a message or a story?
So I'll tell you about this. All of my books is trying to help children understand themselves better and the world around them.
Oh,
And I think that in order for you to understand the world better, you have to understand yourself better. And there's no switch that comes on, and you get to say, okay, now it's time for me to understand myself better. I think as parents, we have the responsibility to help our children become self-aware, right? And in order to do that, you also have to be on that journey too, as a parent. So, for me, I see my kids and I see how they get upset about stuff. Like, for example, you're going through this journey of developing a product, and there are going to be hiccups. There's going to be moments where you said, you know what, I'm done with this. I can't do this. This is too hard. I don't want to do this. So you get angry and you like put it away and go on with your life. And so my fourth children's book, which is called I Am Mad, Is That Bad?
oh,
I want kids to realize that emotion of being mad is not necessarily a bad thing, but depending on how you use it, it could be bad,
hmm.
right? Because as humans, we're all going to get mad about something, right? But how do we use that mad? Are we using it to help us or help others? Or are we using it to hurt us or hurt others? And kids get mad all the time. They get mad, they throw their stuff, they kick the wall, they do all that stuff. It's not something that switches on to when you become an adult. But I think that kids don't realize that you being mad, it doesn't make you bad. It's how you use it. That's what determines what's bad.
Yeah. Never thought of it like that because sometimes, my daughter will just be mad and she's not sure what she's mad at, but she's mad about something. Something happened, but she shouldn't be mad, but she's mad about it. And yeah, that's a really great way to put it.
Yeah, we all get mad. That's and I think that the reason why I write these, because I think it's part of, if you don't understand your emotions, you're going to block your creativity. You're going to block your individuality, right? Because you're it's stuck. Emotions are meant to be processed, right? But we need to learn how to do that. And a lot of us never learned until, because I worked in a jail, I worked in a prison.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of the people that didn't know how to process their emotions, especially the negative ones, in a healthy way, ends up in trouble.
Hmm. Wow. I never thought of it like that, but yeah, it makes such sense when you put it like that.
Yeah, that's so my children books are always reflective, and it's always about building the child.
Yeah, that's great. Now, are the books for different age groups or they kind of follow along the same path?
So the board books is for more like 6 months, so like 2 years old, and then the other ones are more elementary age group kids. Yeah, that's been my focus right now.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love that you just said 6 months because I go back to what you said about the book. They can hold a book. And if they're used to holding that book, they'll grow up not saying, oh, I'm just going to jump on my phone and read it. They'll say, oh, there's a book. I remember holding books.
Right. And also, a book represents learning about them and learning about their world and learning about things that matters to them, as opposed to when they get to school. Sometimes learning becomes about learning about what someone else told you to learn.
Yes. Oh my God, Sandy, this is. I love this stuff. You're exactly right. This is what you need to learn. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So bring it full circle. It's like, yes, this bottle helped me realize how much more I can give. And a lot of times I think that the message for anyone listening here is like, when you invent something or you create something, don't be so quick to, oh, I gotta go and invent something else. Sometimes your next product is coming from a gift and talent that you already hold. You don't have to become an inventor again in order to grow. You actually have things within you that you can use to create more and give more to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the add value, give to the world, like you said, have a purpose. And I think that's what helps. Listen, we all want to sell product and make money. But if you do something with a purpose, I think those other things come, a purpose, and you're driven and you want to help people and you're adding value. It's not just about making a widget and selling it, or at least that's how I feel too. And that's why I just love what you're doing, because the whole sales side is secondary. It seems like you really want to help people with your products.
Yeah. I heard a quote, and I don't know who said this. There was someone who was talking about selling stuff, and this guy said, it was a can of tuna, and the tuna were expired, right? But this guy was determined to sell them, right? And so someone said to him, "These tunas are expired. Why are you selling them?" He said, "They're not for me to eat. They're for me to sell." And so when I think about, just listen to what I'm saying, basically, he didn't care about selling the expired tuna to the marketplace. He didn't
Yes.
care about the people.
Yeah.
He only cared about what he was getting out of it. I never want to be that type of entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, if you're making loads of money but you can't go to sleep at night, it doesn't matter.
No, 100%. And I was that person in my 20s and 30s. And then one day it just clicked. I said, I loved making money. I was just crazy. And what, you get to the point where you're like, what am I doing? You want to help people. You want to see other people succeed. You want to be a part of a community and do that, and that's kind of what I love what you're doing. You saw your product and you could have said, I'm done. Here's my product, buy it. But
Mm-hmm.
you're adding so much more value on now that it's not only a great product, but it could be used for multiple generations.
I want to offer an experience.
Yeah.
It's not just about a product, because how long does a person or parent use a bottle? For a couple of months.
Yeah.
It's not a lifetime thing. But the experience they get out of it is definitely something that, implants something within the child and the parent that they get to tell about. They get to talk about it.
Yeah. No, I think it's all so real quick. We're kind of getting out of time. Like I said, I told you the time was going to go by so fast.
Yeah.
What's next, or what's happening with the books, or are they for sale, or is there something that what's going on with it that people can get their hands on these things?
Definitely. So right now I'm working on a bundle to put the books and the bottle together. And once I get the right packaging for it that tells the story in the way that resonates with the people that it's supposed to serve, we'll have it on our website for sale. I'm doing a lot of work with the schools, like a lot of work with the schools. And I love to say that, while I did not wake up one day and say I wanted to be an inventor, I'm truly grateful for the journey, because without it, I could not be doing what I'm doing today.
Wow, that's great. That's great. We'll make sure that we keep our ears and eyes open, and maybe when you're ready to launch, we come back on and kind of just go through the books and talk about it and how people get their hands on it. It would be great to do that.
Yeah, I would love that. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, Sandy, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for all your listeners for sticking with us. I think it's not because of me. I think it's because we have great guests that come on. People like Sandy, this awesome entrepreneur, inventor, leader in the community. She's so great. We spoke and I wanted to bring her on just to kind of talk about what she has going. But if you can, go on out to Google Play, iTunes, or wherever you consume your podcast material, make sure you send us a note, send us a message, let us know how we're doing, and subscribe to the show. We appreciate you all, and we will catch you next time on the Launchpad. You all take care.